Hi guys, back with another video for you today, and I've got Joe here again.
Hello everybody.
Today we're talking about Gallivant fragrances. Are you familiar with this house? Do let us know, put a comment down. But we've got the entire collection here we're going to go over, except for the latest release, which is ACCRA. Find out all about Gallivant coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. This is Joe.
Hello everyone. I see that we're kind of twinning today.
Twinning.
his stripes are a little bit thicker than mine. I have a bit of a pinstripey vibe going on.
Twinning, is that a tea brand?
Oh yes, it
Twinnings.
is. You're right, actually. That went right over my head.
Yeah. So, are you familiar with Gallivant?
I have smelled some of their fragrances in the past, and they are a few favorites for me. Some of them that run a little flat for me, but others that are actually quite enjoyable to smell.
Cool.
Yeah.
So they've got a ton of different fragrances. One of them I noticed that the brand has removed off their website, Amsterdam. We're going to touch on it, but we're going to do a brief touch on that fragrance. And then, as I said, I don't know ACCRA. I haven't smelled it yet. It's a fragrance created by Stephanie Bakouche, and ACCRA is in a country called Ghana. It's considered a leather fragrance with fruit, spices, and gourmand notes. So if you don't know, Gallivant's fragrances are all city-inspired. Imagine going or traveling to a city and you're gallivanting around that city, and that's how the fragrances are inspired. So we're going to talk about Abu Dhabi first. This is United Arab Emirates, and this is Lucas Sieuzac. Perfumer Lucas Sieuzac. He's probably best known for Amouage's Reflection Man, and I think he's the son of a famous perfumer at IFF. He's got the same last name. I'm not 100% sure with that, but this is Abu Dhabi here. So some of the bottles, we have the new caps, and also some of the bottles are 100 ml. They started out doing only 30 mLs. So you'll see the older caps and the newer caps. And this is featuring notes of leather, clary sage, pink pepper, saffron, cypress, geranium, orris root, rosemary, patchouli, peppermint, cardamom, cistus, cedarwood, and musk. What do you think of this?
I get pretty much what the notes say they are. I get some leather in it. I do get some some aromatic touches. They mention that there is a little bit of an animalic quality to it. I don't necessarily pick up on that animalic scent, but I do get kind of an amouage vibe, like you said with Reflection Man with Lucas Sieuzac. How he did Reflection Man, I could see this fragrance in a collection like Amouage, if that makes sense to you folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a leather fragrance, and even though leather can lean animalic, I don't think this is animalic for me. But depending on the person that's wearing it, how tolerable, it is, the notes for certain people. But for me, it's very spicy and aromatic, and also very woody. The combination of aromatics, woods, and spices, basically. And I guess I could see the inspiration for Abu Dhabi. What do you think?
I think so as well.
It's very sandy to me. I don't know if that's what it means. It's the desert and the sand, the dryness and all that.
It does have a Middle Eastern tinge to it, and I also get a slight freshness from the peppermint, I think, is what's giving it off. It has... I don't want to say it's cold when it hits my nostrils.
It is pretty cold, actually.
Yeah, it's cold, but I was looking for a better word. It kind of wakes you up a little bit, almost. Like the peppermint, if you smell... we're going to go back to tea, but if you smell a bag of Twinings tea, peppermint tea, it can kind of wake you up, and it kind of stimulates you a little bit. And it's like, whoo, hello. I pick up on a little bit of that. I don't think peppermint is by any means the focal point of this fragrance, but it is.
It's there.
It's in there.
Yeah, it's noticeable. And then the thing is, with that peppermint note he was mentioning, I get that vibe, kind of like maybe... do you guys remember Vicks kind of has that kind of eucalyptusy kind of vibe? It's not necessarily smelling like eucalyptus, but it does wake your senses up when you...
Some Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, Vapor Rub.
Exactly.
But going back to Twinings, this is an English brand, a British brand, so we're talking about tea quite a bit here today.
We are talking about tea.
So maybe that has something to do with the fact that this is a British brand or a UK brand. Who knows? But maybe it'll come up again.
Possibly.
All right, this next one is Amsterdam, and I'm not sure what's going on with the status of this fragrance. It's no longer on the Gallivant website. This is Amsterdam, and as I was saying, these are the older bottles. The older caps, basically. This has the note of tulip in it, and obviously Amsterdam or Holland or Netherlands has quite a bit of tulips. They're known for their tulips. What do you think? It's a very unusual fragrance. I think maybe that's why it's no longer selling. I don't know.
It is quite different. It's a niche perfume for sure.
Very artistic.
It is artistic. Yeah, there's a big creative facet to it, which I appreciate. And I was actually just in Amsterdam. I went backpacking through Europe for about 3 weeks. I just got back, and
Does it smell like this?
It smells. I mean, I smelled tulips in Amsterdam, and it smells like those tulips. I was at first when I heard about this fragrance a little while back, I was expecting there to be possibly maybe a Kush note.
Oh.
Maybe a cannabis note.
I get that.
Because Amsterdam, you definitely do pick up wafts of cannabis throughout the air from the little coffee shops and everything, which is not in this fragrance, but I believe that their interpretation of tulip and their idea of Amsterdam is fairly accurate.
I really like the fact that it does smell like a tulip, and tulips don't smell like anything except for this faint smell. And basically in this fragrance, it's just amplified.
Yeah. They've taken that, like what Sebastian said, that faintness of a tulip, and they've brought it to the forefront of the fragrance.
Yeah.
And it's a very nice scent. Tulips do smell great, but they're not the strongest, so they just needed a little help in this one.
Yeah.
Which they got.
So this next one is Berlin. This is it right here, created by Karine Chevalier, or Karen Chevalier. She's done a lot of fragrances for this house. This one actually, I like the idea of it, but it's not winning me over as some of the other fragrances. And at the end of the video, we're going to tell you our favorites. But what do you think of this one?
This one has tea in it. So Twinings tea resurfaces once again. It's a common thread in this video for some reason.
It's gonna come up again with London, by the way.
Yeah, you're right actually. This one I get slight herbal notes from the black tea. However, I also pick up a good dose of the vetiver. The Haitian vetiver.
The vetiver is pretty prominent.
Yeah, it definitely comes through quite a bit for me in this one.
So yeah, it's a combination of grassy vetiver, spices, and citruses. Easy to wear kind of a fragrance, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I thought maybe for Berlin we would have some leather.
Yeah. Maybe some rubber for the latex or something. something dark and mysterious, but this...
Maybe not this Berlin.
Maybe not this Berlin. Yeah, exactly.
All right, the next one we're talking about is Brooklyn. This one right here, created by Giorgia Navarra. This features notes of benzoin, musks, orange juice, amber, whitewoods, magnolia, orris root, transparent flowers, squeezed lemons, bergamot, fresh air, incense, cardamom, ozonic notes. There's a lot going on here. But for me, this fragrance wears a lot more simpler than all the notes in here.
Yeah.
For me, it's kind of an amber, fresh amber, a very juicy, orangey amber fragrance.
I agree with that. I definitely get that juicy quality from it. Oddly enough, whatever they have done to create a chord of fresh air, I pick up on. I don't know if it's because I knew there was a note in the fragrance called fresh air and it might be playing tricks on me, but I definitely get that walking out of the house in the morning, getting blasted by maybe some cold air, just like, hello. I picked that up, but I definitely do get the squeezed lemons and the orange juice. I don't know which one I pick up more. I think it's definitely a bit of a mixture between the two. It's like a citrusy, or it's like a zingy orange juice.
I feel like it's orange juice and also lemon juice.
Yeah.
It says squeezed lemon, so basically it's a very juicy fragrance.
It is.
But lots of amber, lots of benzoin, creating the amber creation, amber accord. And then very soft white woods, which probably refers to very pure woods, angelic woods, because it doesn't come off very heavy in the woods department here.
No.
And also the ozonic notes create this lightness along with the fresh air. It's very breezy.
It is breezy, yes. Breezy is a great word for that. However, I do not pick up on any incensiness. I don't really get too much smokiness.
No, I don't get the smokiness with that whatsoever. It's very fresh.
Yeah. Another one of those ones that you could just reach for, spray on, go about your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to Bukhara next. It's a city in Uzbekistan. This is created by Ralph Schweiger. This is it right here with the new cap. This is an iris bomb featuring orris, saffron, coriander, cotton soft musks, cloves, apricot, ambrette, osmanthus benzoin, amber, woods, caraway, pear, bergamot, transparent silk accord. What do you think?
I can pick up on the cotton soft musks. It does kind of have that linen quality to it. However, the orris butter coming through...
so good.
The orris butter coming through is definitely taking over in the beginning of the fragrance.
So good.
But it's a really lovely take. The saffron isn't overly leathery. The coriander adds a little bit of aromatic touches, and the osmanthus and apricot can bring together a little bit of like a fruitiness. As well as the ambrette.
Yeah.
You could pick up a little bit of fruitiness from that as well.
This to me is Orris and ambrette bomb together with the cotton soft musks. Everything else is fairly light. The Orris is very, very dominant for me. It's kind of on the vegetal side, not necessarily very sweet either. Like there's no vanilla here. I mean, there's benzoin, which is kind of vanillic, but it's soft.
Yeah.
Because the Orris is just clobbering all those notes because it's really, really king of this fragrance. But it's a really good Orris.
It is.
Kind of vegetal, a bit, very powdery. I shouldn't say a bit.
Yeah. Definitely vegetal.
But that's one of my favorites from this house. If you like iris, you should definitely get your nose on Bukhara. I don't know anything about Bukhara, the city in Uzbekistan. What does iris have anything to do with this city? If anybody knows, do let us know. Put a comment down below.
Definitely.
Next, we're going to Poland, the city of Gdansk. This one right here. And this is a fragrance created by Julia Rodriguez Pastor. This is focusing on ambergris. And for me, this ambergris is not necessarily uber animalic because they've created the amber accord with the ambergris note along with, notes to create that amber accord is what I should say. So it's ambergris with plums, honey, cistus, sandalwood, vanilla, cypriol, incense, leather, tobacco, musks, styrax, rose, patchouli, cardamom, and nutmeg. There's a lot going on in here. A lot going on.
Yeah.
It faintly reminds me of something like Wajan, but a more fruity, plummy, and rosy take on Wajan along with ambergris. Thoughts?
I do see what Sebastian is saying about Wajan. At least with Wajan, I get more spices from it. This one, however, I don't want to say it's animalic because it's not overly animalic, but it definitely does have something going on in there that's different. And I'm assuming it's definitely got to be from the cistus, from the styrax, and the musks all together, and maybe the leather as well. But I think it's a good fragrance. This one didn't stand out to me all that much. However, I think it's a good fragrance. It's not necessarily something like a Bukhara or even like an Abu Dhabi, which I actually thoroughly enjoyed Abu Dhabi, but this one, it's a good fragrance, but it wasn't anything necessarily to write home about, from my personal opinion.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I really like this one. I enjoy it, and I like the fact that they have ambergris in here. I don't know if it's real ambergris. To me, it does smell like ambergris, not ambroxan. So when you catch that video soon with Sarah Baker, we discussed this thing about ambergris versus ambroxan. We don't know if they're really using ambergris or is it an ambergris accord they create with different notes. Because ambergris can be very, very animalic and sometimes very foul smelling.
Yeah.
Here with this, they say that's got some animalic qualities. I don't get it, even when I wear it and it dries down. I think everything kind of like tones down the ambergris animalic qualities. So it's just a beautiful amber fragrance with light marinish kind of ambergris touches and lots of fruits and ambery, earthy ambery touches and woods and things like that. So for me, it's ambergris, plums, rose, honey. These are the kind of standout notes for this fragrance.
Very nice.
All right, we're going to Turkey next with Istanbul. This one right here, another fragrance created by Karine Chevalier. This is my favorite fragrance from this house. It might have changed a little bit. We'll tell you the ranked list later. But this is amber, sweet myrrh, which is popanax, cardamom, vanilla, tonka, sandalwood, patchouli, lavender, geranium, musks, bergamot, red thyme. A lot of stuff going on in here. But I really, really love the ambery touches in this one. It's absolutely delicious.
It's a very nice amber, indeed. I think this one's kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a gourmand by any means, but it's a yummy amber. It's nice. It's
edible amber.
It's edible amber. No, it's warming. It has that golden quality that you can get from amber sometimes, and it's
orange, dark orange.
Yeah, it's very pretty. It's radiant. I don't know what it is. It's vanillic, it's tonka beans, and I think that adds to not necessarily a creaminess. There might be a little creaminess like lying underneath it, but I also pick up on a heavy dose of lavender. SPF.
Yeah, you pick up the heavy dose of lavender. I'm picking up patchouli, and it's the combination of vanillic amber resins together with patchouli gives it a nice depth to the fragrance. Absolutely one of the best ambers out there.
I agree.
I just wish it was a larger bottle because I'm afraid to use that bottle up. It's gonna, finish.
Some precious juice.
And I'm an oversprayer, so probably finish that in a week. But yeah, Istanbul from Gallivant is probably the best in the whole collection.
I could agree to that. Yeah.
But we'll see what happens in a little bit.
We shall see.
Next up, it's London. And here we have leather, and even though they don't mention tea, I do get tea in this fragrance with a dosage of cucumbers.
Tea again.
So this is Karine Chevalier. Notes include rosemary, rose oil, leather, suede, cucumber, violet leaves, cedar, sandalwood, orris, and patchouli. When I wear this one, it's kind of like tea with cucumber sandwiches. You know what they have in the UK. But lots of leather as well, and rose.
I get slight bits of leather. It definitely, for me at least, it's definitely more of a rose-centric fragrance. I actually am reminded quite heavily of the rose. If you could extract the rose from Oud Satin Mood by Mason Francis Kirkjohn, that's what I get. And it's probably the violet playing with the rose, kind of creating that ozonic, watery, jammy experience. But yeah, I get lots and lots of rose. There is slight traces of leather, and I do pick up on that, but for me, rose-centric.
Yeah, it's also kind of Hendrick's gin, kind of like a gin tonic with the cucumber, the rose, not necessarily any kind of aromatic notes of juniper or anything like that, but for me, the cucumber is very ozonic as a note. It's actually, a fruit, or it's a vegetable actually. Violet leaves to me generally smells like cucumbers.
Yeah.
Similar kind of a texture, the wateriness. So it's fun. It's interesting that they've combined those two notes together. Definitely the idea of this kind of very ozonic and watery texture in there against kind of a rough leather in there. Although it's not very rough, the leather.
I wouldn't say it's rough at all. I think they mention in here that there's sandalwood and suede, which is obviously going to offer a bit more of a buttery leather experience. Along with that Orris is probably going to add to that smoothness as well.
For me, the rose also has a grassiness about it. It's almost like it's a dried rose. You know how you hang roses upside down and they kind of dry, and they take that shape of the rose that you can't really kind of maneuver. It just reminds me of how that rose is dried. And when you smell this, it smells like that rose you would smell after it's dried. Anyway.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It's a good way to paint a picture. Yeah.
So next, it's going to Southern California with Los Angeles. This one right here, once again created by Karine Chevalier. This one has notes of pineapple, eucalyptus, clary sage, tuberose, narcissus, cade, gaiac wood, cypriol, musks, and heliotrope. For me, unfortunately, this fragrance is not very inviting. I don't know what it is about it, but I feel like it's not working for me for some reason. I don't know why. What do you think?
I can attest to that. It's not necessarily my least favorite from the house, but it's going to sit pretty close to the middle, lower mid tier for this house. I think this house has some great offerings, and this one doesn't necessarily play up to par with some of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, Karine Chevalier has created Istanbul, which is amazing.
I think she does 4 of them in this house.
Yeah, there's like 4 of them from her, but this one just kind of doesn't do it for me. Like, it's not very inviting. Sometimes you get excited with smells. This is not one of them. At least to me, it's not. But I can see perhaps the inspiration with LA. It's very fresh and fruity and floral.
That sounds like LA.
Okay.
If you had to take LA and put it into a scent profile.
It's a fruity floral?
Fresh fruity floral. I think so. Minus Skid Row and some of the other smells that might come in every now and then.
All right, next we're going to Naples, created by Luca Maffei. Very well-known perfumer. This is featuring notes of sea salts, incense resinoid, fumance, bergamot, Calabria, ozonic notes, ginger, cardamom, nutmeg, leathery labdanum, pink pepper, clearwood, patchouli, gaiac wood, birch, vetiver, amber. A lot of stuff going on with this one. It's interesting. It starts out salty. Instantly, incense takes over. It becomes church to me.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I pick up another comparison here. It's not the same, but it's either Purpose or Search from Amouage. From their citrusy yet incensey line that just released fairly recently. I get that. I think it's just from. I mean, there is a ginger zing in this one, and lots and lots of incense. But
Yeah,
it's a fresher incense though.
Yeah, it's definitely fresh. There's not a lot of warm notes in this one. That ginger really works well with the incense.
It does actually, yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, the fragrance that I was comparing it to also has ginger in it. Am I correct? The one from Amouage. Which one is that? Purpose, yeah. I think that one may have ginger in it. I know it's citrusy, but I think there may be some sort of a zinginess to it. So Search? Yeah?
Search, I think. Yeah, not
Okay.
Purpose.
Yeah, we're figuring it
No,
out.
but this is so good. I think Luca Maffei has created a really great fragrance, combining salty notes with the two types of incense in here, the juicy citruses, ozonic notes. So there's definitely a watery effect. I think the inspiration for this is really spot on for me. There's a lot of churches in Naples. I've been once, and it's on the coast, so salty air, fresh watery touches. I think that one's good.
He did a very good job at depicting a city for what it is, scent-wise.
He's from Italy, so obviously
he knows his stuff about Italy, for sure.
So we've got another Karine Chevalier fragrance. This one I do enjoy by her. With Los Angeles not being one of my favorites, Tel Aviv is really great as well. It's definitely one of my favorites. Going to Israel here with freesia, jasmine, sambac, clementine, ylang ylang, blackcurrant, bergamot, musk, sandalwood, benzoin, liatris, and rose. This is a very fresh solar floral, white floral.
Yeah.
It's sunny. It's very sunny and bright.
It is bright.
A bit tropical and a little fruity as well, but very fresh.
I agree with that. As far as white florals are concerned, I think sometimes it can go a little bit. It could go a little bit too creamy for my liking. Almost like an overly indulgent tuberose is like it can be very voluminous and it's just a lot to take in. This one is going to be on the airier side. Not saying that it doesn't have the performance because it does, but it's definitely a fresher white floral. It's clean.
I think this is perfect. It's definitely on the breezy side, as he was saying. It's not like dense and creamy.
Yeah.
And white flowers can go creamy. I think it's the freesia. Freesia to me is very fresh smelling and not necessarily like uber white floral like jasmine or tuberose and gardenia can do. And even though there's jasmine here, I think it's nicely done.
Yeah.
It's very fresh with the citruses.
It's a lovely white floral.
And last but not least, a video that I have on the channel, a full review of Tokyo. This is Tokyo from Gallivant, and this is created by Nicolas Bonneville. I've heard of this perfumer, but I don't know a lot of his work. This is hinoki wood, cardamom, black pepper, incense, wasabi, yuzu, nutmeg, cedarwood, orris root, amber, bergamot, sandalwood, vetiver, patchouli, and rose. A lot going on here. It's fresh and green and very zingy.
Yeah, I get some spiciness in it as well. Obviously mentioned is black pepper, but also from the wasabi. I believe that's adding the zingy, peppery spiciness that I'm picking up on. Not necessarily sweet, and it's green for sure, but I don't pick up on too much of that yuzu. Usually when I think yuzu, I think of a bit juicier, kind of like an Acqua di Parma yuzu. It's very juicy, but this one it tones it down a little bit more, for sure.
This is definitely really great. And what I like about this one, and there's a reminder of Comme des Garçons fragrances. I think it's because of the hinoki wood and the incense, yuzu together. I think that Nicolas Bonneville did a great job with this one. I really like it. That's why I did a full review of this fragrance on the channel, because it just has that kind of uniqueness factor about it.
Yeah.
Reminder of something like Comme des Garçons. If you guys know Comme des Garçons fragrances, they utilize a lot of hinoki wood, incense notes, black pepper. You'll notice some similarities or familiarity with the two.
I believe this one's a very unique take on something that could be an everyday wear. I think it could be a signature scent for somebody without smelling like everybody else.
Correct.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's unique, but it's not off-putting.
I agree.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's a very great scent.
Okay. All right, now that we've gone over the entire collection, we're going to rank the fragrances, and my number 7 is GDANSK. I've selected this because I really like that whole reminder of Wajan, but kind of in a ambergris and fruity, plummy direction. And what's your number 7?
My number 7 is London.
And what did you like about it?
It was that extracted rose from Oud Satin Mood, and I thought it was a fantastic aquatic ozonic rose.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went with London as my number 6.
Boom, boom.
We're doing that again.
Again.
Yeah. I just like that whole kind of tea-like experience with the cucumber ozonic touches of the violet leaves and the rose, the fact that the rose had that dry reminder. And then the leather. The leather is a very fresh leather and easy to wear. So that's a really fun fragrance.
Yeah, it's a really good one. My number 6 was Brooklyn.
Okay.
And I think this one, I believe I mentioned it before in the video, but it's one of those fragrances that you could just reach for and feel good about it. And I really like that quality about it. I'd say there's 2 fragrances from this house that share that. And Brooklyn beat out the other one, in my opinion.
Sadly, I didn't end up with Brooklyn on this list. It was before. Now that they have more fragrances, it's gone to the bottom. So my number 5 is Tel Aviv. I really like Tel Aviv. It's that solar floral, white floral combo with the citruses. It reminds me of being on the coast in the Mediterranean. I'm Mediterranean and Lebanese, so kind of remember that whole inspiration. Maybe added a little bit of sea breeze in there or something, but I feel like there might be a little bit in that fragrance, even though they don't mention it.
Possibly, yeah.
So what did you go with number 5?
My number 5 was Tokyo, and we spoke very highly about this one.
Tokyo's good.
The reason I have it at 5 is because although it is unique and it can be an everyday wear, usually the higher ranking ones that I have in these videos are the ones that really scream and jump off the card to me and jump off my skin. This one didn't necessarily jump off like that, but as I mentioned before, it is a very it's a universal scent in the sense that you can wear it in a lot of different occasions and every day, and you'll smell great at all times and unique.
Totally.
Yeah.
I have Tokyo coming up later, but my number 4 is Naples. Gosh, I didn't know how great Naples was. I like that whole salty combo with the incensey touches and then that zingy ginger. It's very complex, just like the city of Naples, and definitely a great job done by Luca Maffei.
And I am piggybacking off Sebastian here. I agree. I fully agree with Naples as number 4. It is my number 4, and it's a fantastic combination. You wouldn't necessarily expect something good to come from a fresh incensey scent, just given the quality of incense as a note. But it was executed very well in this scent, in this fragrance, and I stand by it at number 4. I think it's a great fragrance.
So my number 3, it's Tokyo. Tokyo is a great fragrance, and it does remind me of Comme des Garçons fragrances, but in the Gallivant style. It's very green, it's zingy, it's woody. The hinoki wood kind of has a cypress-like touch. I believe it's basically Japanese cypress, and I think it really blends well with incense and the wasabi note and the greenness of the wasabi. So it's a great fragrance, so it definitely deserves the number 3 spot.
And then for me, Tel Aviv, this one started kind of jumping out to me a little bit more. Something about the breakdown in this one just really spoke to me. I find it very enjoyable to smell, and I've worn it on skin, and it performs very well on skin. It jumps off a little bit towards me, and the projection's there, the sillage is there, and the lasting power is there. That's something I usually stand by in fragrances, but I think it's a fantastic scent. That's my number 3.
Don't you think it leans feminine a bit?
It does lean feminine, but again,
who gives a crap, right?
Who cares? Wear what you want when you want. There we go.
All right. So my number 2 is Bukhara, for a really, really great smelling Iris Orris fragrance. Mm-hmm. There's something about this one, the vegetal qualities of the iris. It's basically the star. I mean, everything else is supporting the Orris, but man, it's center stage. The Orris is right there. It's creamy, it's powdery and vegetal. Not a lot of sweetness in this fragrance, so it's got savory touches, which I quite like, basically because they're shining a light on the Orris, and it's the star, and that's what you get with Bukhara.
Yeah, and for me, Bukhara, spoiler alert, Bukhara is my number 1. So again, we're very close on that one. My number 2 was Istanbul. And for a great amber scent, go with Istanbul. It is beautiful, it's warming, it's golden. As Sebastian said, it's kind of like that orangey quality. Not necessarily like citrusy, but it's a fantastic amber. It's truly one of the best ambers that I have smelt so far. And I've smelled some great ambers, but this one stands out to me.
Yeah. And my number 1 is Istanbul.
Beautiful.
Exactly what he said, but what I like about that is, or this Istanbul, is it's all the warm notes nicely blended with the patchouli. The patchouli kind of really stands out for me, and it's a nice contrast. Almost to the point of creating that whole effect that patchouli and amber notes creates, the chocolate cakiness, because there's something under there very lightly there that almost is trying to scream out to come out.
Yeah.
But it's more about the amber, the orange and afternoon glow of the dark orange color amber with the earthy patchouli. Really a great fragrance.
If you had to put it into if you have to image it, it's the sun setting on a beautiful evening or a beautiful day in Istanbul.
That's true.
And they got that down.
You got it.
Thank you. And my number one, like I mentioned before, is Bukhara. Fantastic Orris bomb. A little bit vegetal, but it still has all those amazing qualities of what you get with Orris Iris as a note. And I am a big lover of Iris, Orris, whatever you want to call it. I know Sebastian is as well. And this one, kind of how Istanbul stood out to me as an amber. I've smelt lots of great Orris fragrances in the past as well, and this one really did stand out. So if you're a fan of anything that I just mentioned or that Sebastian just mentioned, you're probably going to like this one.
Yeah, also just to go back to Bukhara, a little something else. If you're familiar with fragrances like Dior Intense or Parfum, this is not like that. Basically, it's the iris in that fragrance, but not the sweetness.
Yeah.
And we're kind of pushing the vegetal idea. For me, it's a savory fragrance with vegetal touches. There's not a lot of sweetness.
If you folks are familiar with Iris Poudre from Frederic Malle, it's not at all necessarily a similar scent, but the iris shares similarities. Yeah?
It's the same perfumer.
Oh, is it?
Isn't it?
Wait. Wasn't
Ralph Schweiger?
No. I think Iris Poudre was Pierre Bourdon.
Oh, it is?
I believe it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Close, though.
What did he do at Frederic Malle?
I don't know. I feel like I've seen his name on one of their bottles, but at least for Bukhara, I really pick up on that vegetal green irisy vibe that I get in Iris Poudre. So if you are familiar with that scent, that can give you an idea of what Bukhara is like. It won't explain it completely because there is more going on in this one, but fantastic iris. Orris.
Yep. Cool, guys. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Let us know what your favorite Gallivant fragrances are. Put a comment down below so we can find out. Either way, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon, and I'll bring Joe back for more videos.
Thank you for gallivanting around with us.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Bye, guys.